Good. How are you?
Good.
Well, first of all, am I allowed to talk spoilers or no spoilers?
You can do whatever you like.
Okay, well, congratulations on being grandparents because you guys did become.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. But that was an amazing surprise. I did not anticipate that from watching the film. Uh, First of all, Charlie, how did you find out about this story?
Billy and Susan and I have a mutual friend called Bruce, and Bruce was helping them work on their house, and he kept sending me the WhatsApp videos and photos. And said, "You got to come and see this otter. It's crazy." So I came, I got in the car, drove to Shetland, and I met Molly and I met Billy and Susan, and saw what a beautiful situation there was there. So really quite quickly got to work trying to get a film off the ground about it.
Thank you for bringing this story. I actually did cry. I was crying with Billy. Like, we lost Molly. We lost the baby. Like, what's next? But it was a humbling surprise. And Susan, you were such a cheerleader.
I haven't been called that before.
So what was your experience, Susan, to see Billy and Molly and the whole story unfold in your eyes?
I guess we were in it. So you are right. It was unfolding, and as it was unfolding, that's as the film was being made. She's a wild animal. You can't script a wild otter. So some of the things that were happening were just goodness me. But it did give us a really good insight into like the yearly cycle, if you like, of an otter. So this year, next year, however many long, we now know, or we think we know what that lifestyle is like. But it was fascinating. It was fascinating watching it from a starving animal to one now who pops in, gets some fish, disappears again, who is a mum. It's been fantastic. It's been a terrific journey.
But Billy, I don't know about you, but I would say that the fact that Molly came back to, have her start her family, and she came back where I think in her heart it's home, and that's you. That's your home.
I think you're right to an extent. She knew that was a place it was a place of safety. It was a place where she'd be protected. It was a place where, most importantly, she would get food. And so, yeah, it was heartwarming when she decided to come back and trust us with her baby as well as her own life and her own safety. But she is a wild otter. She lives wild, and the baby's wild, and the baby has never, ever become tame. But yeah, it was lovely for her to bring the baby around and to trust us enough that she could come and get her food and still it would be safe and she would be safe. Yeah.
And Charlie, I mean, it must have been a bit of pressure because, I mean, you have Billy and Susan, they're going to be watching the film and how their story is portrayed. So how did you go about?
I think the most nerve-wracking moment in the entire film was when they saw the first cut. And then Billy and Susan were involved at every stage of the edit and, all the way through. But the first time they saw it, and in fact, every time I sent it to them, I'd send it to them usually a Friday evening. If they didn't reply by Sunday morning, I was like, why haven't they replied? So I had to tell them eventually. I was like, if you watch it, you have to tell me if you like it. Because I'd be waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning going, why haven't they messaged me yet? So it was like they were my, as far as an audience goes, when you're making a film, they were always and remain the most important because I'm sort of codependently emotionally attached to them. And if I didn't make a film that they were happy with or that had affected our relationship, I'd be very upset. And luckily we did all end up happy. So that was good.
So Billy, Susan, what was happening on Saturday? I mean, he was submitting Friday, and how did you guys feel watching?
So the first time we absolutely fed back instantly. The second time we watched it with Johnny, who was the second cameraman, and we then talked about it, and then mistakenly we thought that he was giving Charlie's feedback. and he didn't. So then when I get this text from Charlie on Saturday afternoon going, well, have I caused upset? He's like, oh no, sorry. So now, no, we yeah, nothing was happening. We just lost in the communication.
Mm-hmm. And Billy, what was your take in watching the whole film completed? Your whole story.
It was, I mean, because we were so involved and invested in the whole story as it was being filmed, I suppose we kind of knew what was coming. But no, to see the whole package as a complete thing that you could actually watch instead of being involved in, it was just lovely. And it was lovely to see the final product. And bearing in mind there was many versions of it till we got to the end. I think for me it was a feeling of satisfaction that we'd shared the story, and that other people were getting to see it and get the good of it without just holding on to this thing to ourselves. We were able to share it in a way that was sensitive but meaningful and joyful. Yeah.
Charlie, you were the director of photography, and the writer.
Yeah.
I mean, the script, the dialogue, hearing Susan's words, Billy describing what was going on, were phenomenal. So how did you work a little bit with Gloria, or is this just based on interviews with them and the whole experience, or during filming? How did you put the writing together?
So we started early on. We started, I'd interview Billy and record it, and then the original idea was we would then edit the interviews into a timeline. But as we got further into it, realized that wasn't going to work, and then we kind of thought we needed another voice. So that's when we brought Susan in, and what we kind of figured out early on was that it was, in order to tell the story properly, it had to be a concise script, and we couldn't just do it from interviews. So what we did is we used the words of the interviews and the fact that we'll live together, and we had a sort of open Google Doc that the script was written on. So because it had to be their true story and their voice. So, I think between the three of us and Jeff Wilson, the producer, I think we created this script that everyone was happy with, and it was Billy and Susan's voice, and then they both did the most phenomenal voiceovers. I never in my wildest dreams thought we could get them in a voiceover suite and do what they did. And when we booked it, we booked 2 days, and by the end of day one they were both done because they just nailed it. So yeah,
because their heart was in it, that's why. So yeah. There's some words that I was just like at awe. Gloria says in a part that how she sees Billy thrived on this responsibility of Molly. Like, it was one of those things where it's like she's seeing him glow.
Yeah, and I think to watch sort of Susan's realization of Billy's change is a very beautiful thing, and I think for Billy to realize that change as it was happening. Yeah. And I think that the three of us got together a lot, certainly in the last sort of few weeks before the voiceover was done, and made sure those words were all, very resonant. And I think Susan's delivery of them is partly why the film's so powerful. It's majority-wise why the film is so powerful is because of the emotion in her voice when she tells her story about Billy.
And whoever wants to answer, Billy or Susan, there was a part where it says that towards the end, she says that Molly reminded you guys of who you are, of who you were, not who you are. So give me a little backstory on that.
It's difficult to verbalize. I think what yeah, it's hard. It's hard to put that into words. I think for me, though, we lived in Aberdeen in a fast-paced lifestyle, big jobs, big reward, big pressure, big stress, and it's satisfying. But that's not what life is about. Life is about living, and while we enjoyed that lifestyle and it gave us good holidays and stuff, I think for us to come back to Shetland, it helped us to slow down. But to then be involved with an animal like an otter that that just helped to ground us even more, because we saw an animal here that her basic needs was food, warmth, shelter. That was it. And when you see that in an animal, it doesn't worry about tomorrow. It doesn't worry about the next hour. It just goes, I'm in the present. And I think it helped to kind of ground us in that way, to just let you see, living in the present moment and don't worry about the big stuff. So it's a difficult answer to verbalize, but I think for us, it just brought us down. It grounded us. Coming back to Shetland helped to ground us, and meeting Molly just helped even more.
Very much.
Well, that is a great message and a way to end our conversation. I love the film, and thank you for bringing me some happy tears.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Congratulations.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.